Assalamualaikum. My name is Muhammad Darwis bin Muhammad Asri. My metric number is DD190043. Today I will present about our project, which is heat transfer. Heat is the form of energy that can be transferred from one system to another as a result of temperature difference. The transfer of energy as heat always from the higher temperature medium to the lower temperature one, and heat transfer stop when the two mediums reach the same temperature. So, how the heat is transferred? There are three ways heat can move. The first one is conduction, and the second one is convection, and the third one is radiation. But on this time, I will focus on conduction method. Conduction is the process of transfer of heat through direct contact of matter due to the temperature gradient. The mode of heat transfer is very common in solids and negligible in liquids. When two objects are in direct contact with one another, there will be a transfer of heat from the hotter object to the colder one, which is due to conduction. Further, the objects which permit heat to travel easily through them are called conductors. Conduction of heat occurs when the molecules increase in temperature and make they to vibrate. And this vibration and movement pass the heat energy to the surrounding molecules. Some examples of conduction of heat are when accidentally touching a hot pot or when you hitting a metal spoon. Before we proceed to simple conduction experiment, let's identify the apparatus for the experiments. The apparatus that we need for experiment are handsaw, metal blade, wax candle, and screw. Now, let's proceed to the conduction experiment. To begin the experiment, place screw on metal blade and fix screw on blades using wax from candle. Screws should be close to each other but should not overlap. Next, hit the end of the metal blade using the candle. From the result, you will observe that the wax melts and screw fall down. As the screw fall, the heat transfers to the next particle of the metal blade and makes the next screw to fall down. The heat makes the wax which travel from the hot end of the blade to the cold end by conduction. The activity shows that metals are good conductor of heat.
Assalamualaikum and a very good day to Dr. Azwan. My name is Muhammad Ezrin Redzuan bin Indarah. So for my part, I will explain and present to you about the heat transfer heat transfer by convection. So basically, the mechanism of the convection heat transfer, it is a mode of energy transfer that will happen between a two medium, which is a solid surface, and in a fluid or in a gas in a motion. It combines effects of the conduction and fluid motion. It is the movement of the thermal energy by moving hot fluid, which means the particles of the in the fluid or in the gas will be moving when the hot when the hot when the hot heat is generated. Then the warmer particle are less dense, so the particles with higher temperature will be moved to regions where the temperature is lower, and cooler will move to the areas of the higher temperature. The fluid will remain in motion until equilibrium is reached. So to explain more about the experiment, the apparatus used in this experiment is styrofoam cup, the transparent reusable Tupperware, the red flavor food coloring, and the green flavor food coloring. So this is the experimental methods that have been recorded earlier. So in this experiment, first I fill the Tupperware with a cold water. Then I put the first thing I put is the red flavor food coloring. So the red flavor food coloring will be indicated as the hot medium of area. Then I put the green food flavor coloring. So the green food flavor coloring will be indicated as the cold area. It is better if we use a blue food coloring because it precisely shows the cold area, but I don't have the blue food coloring, so I use the green food coloring so that we can see the difference between hot and cold area. Then after that, I put a glass of hot water that I filled earlier. Then I put it in the middle of the bottom of the Tupperware. So as we can see here, we can see clearly that the red food flavor coloring is start to rise up when the heat is generated from the hot water in the cup. At the same time, the green food flavor coloring also will be moved inside the red area. This is because the heat is start to generate up, so there will be a particle movement in the water. Then we can see here is that this is a time-lapse video about the how fast the presence the movement of the particles in the fluid or in the water. So as a result, we can see that the red food coloring will start to rise up to the surface of the water once the heat is generated. This means the water is start to warming up. This will create a low pressure where the hot air start to rise up. The green food coloring, which represent the cool area, will start to moving into the warm area at the red food coloring. This has happened due to the movement of the particles that stress up when go to the warm area. Thus, this will represent the fluid movement in the medium that heat is transferred by the convection mode. So as a conclusion, from the study of heat transfer, we do figure out the difference that happen between two modes of heat transfer, which is conduction and convection, and the changes related to it. First one is the conduction is nothing but the heat transfer from the hotter part to the colder one. Convection is the heat transfer by up and down motion of the fluid. In addition, there is one more mode of heat transfer, which is radiation. So radiation occurs when heat travels through the empty space. That's all from our group. Thank you.